A 9-year-old boy walked to the movie theater. He never came home. When his mother begged the police for help, they searched for 5 months. Then they returned him. They put a boy on a train, walked him up to her front door, and told her, "This is your son." She looked at the child. She knew immediately he was not Walter. When she said so, the police locked her in a psychiatric ward. Her name was Christine Collins. The year was 1928. And what happened next would expose one of the worst child murder cases in American history. This is the Wineville Chicken Coop Murders. Part 1. Christine Collins lived in Los Angeles with her son Walter, 9 years old, blonde, the only child she had left after her husband had been sent to Folsom Prison. She raised him alone. On the morning of March 10, 1928, Walter walked to the Mt. Washington movie theater with money she had given him. She watched him from the porch as he left. She told him to come straight home. He never did. Christine reported him missing that same evening. The Los Angeles Police Department took the report. They asked her if Walter might have run away. She said no, he was a good boy, he loved his home. The detectives nodded and promised to look. Days passed. Then weeks. The flyers Christine printed went up on every telephone pole in the neighborhood. The newspapers printed his photograph. There was no sign of Walter Collins. The LAPD in 1928 was rotten. The chief, James E. Davis, ran the department like a private army. Officers were corrupt, brutal, and obsessed with their public image. A high-profile missing child was an embarrassment. They needed Walter Collins found, alive, fast. In August, 5 months after Walter disappeared, a boy turned up in DeKalb, Illinois. He told a small-town sheriff that his name was Walter Collins. He said he had been kidnapped and was now trying to find his way home. The story moved fast. The LAPD wired Christine to say her son had been found. She traveled to the train station in Los Angeles to meet him. The press was waiting. Cameras flashed. Captain J.J. Jones, the head of the Juvenile Bureau, presented the child as her son. Christine looked at the boy. He was the wrong height. The wrong build. His teeth were different. Even his ears didn't match. She told Jones, calmly at first, that this was not Walter. Jones told her she was confused, that the trauma had changed her son. He insisted she take the boy home for a trial period. He told her the press was watching. He told her to be a mother. She took the boy home. For 3 weeks she lived with this stranger, this small impostor who called her mother. He didn't know the layout of the house. He didn't recognize Walter's toys. He had a circumcision, Walter had not. She measured him against marks on the wall where she had recorded Walter's height. The boy was 3 inches shorter than Walter had been 5 months earlier. She brought him to a dentist who had treated Walter. The dentist confirmed it, this child had different teeth. She brought him to her sister. Her sister did not recognize him. She brought medical records, dental records, photographs. She went back to Captain Jones with a folder of evidence and demanded that the search for her son be reopened. Jones flew into a rage. He accused her of trying to embarrass the police department. He accused her of trying to dump her child onto the state. He told her that if she persisted, he would have her committed. She persisted. On September 8, 1928, Captain Jones signed a Code 12, a police order that allowed him to commit any inconvenient citizen to the psychiatric ward at Los Angeles County Hospital without trial, without hearing, without limit. They took Christine Collins out of her house in handcuffs. She spent 10 days in the psychiatric ward. They told the doctors she was delusional. They told the doctors she had abandoned her real son and was now refusing to accept him back. The doctors questioned her. She answered every question calmly. She gave them dental records. She gave them photographs. She gave them the names of every adult who had refused to identify the boy. A psychiatrist examined her and wrote in his report that she was clearly not delusional. He wrote that her allegations were specific, consistent, and supported by evidence. The boy living in her house at that moment was named Arthur Hutchins Jr. He was 11 years old. He was a runaway from Iowa. He had heard about the Walter Collins case from a drifter at a roadside cafe and decided to impersonate him as a way to get a free trip to California, where he hoped to meet Tom Mix, the cowboy movie star. When pressed by the LAPD's questioning, he had cracked, admitted everything, and said he was sorry. Captain Jones knew this before he committed Christine to the asylum. She was released after 10 days. Her case made the front page of every paper in California. The LAPD quietly resumed the search for Walter. But by then, 80 kilometers away, a teenage boy named Sanford Clark was working alone on a desolate chicken ranch in a place called Wineville. He was 13 years old. He had been brought there from Canada by his uncle. He had not been allowed to go home for 2 years. And what was buried under the chicken pens at Wineville was about to break a country. Christine Collins had survived the asylum. She would never recover what she had lost. And the worst news of her life had not yet arrived. In part 2, the bloody axes, the shallow graves, and the moment a 13-year-old boy finally told the truth about his Uncle Gordon. If you're new here, subscribe for new horror and true crime stories every week.